In 1957, the world changed with a beep. A small metallic sphere called Sputnik began circling the Earth, the first satellite ever launched by humans. But it wasn't launched by the United States. It came from the Soviet Union. And just like that, the space race was on. The United States, the most powerful nation on Earth, had been caught off guard. The Cold War, a tense standoff between the capitalist West and the communist East, had just reached a new battleground: space. The Soviet Union's Sputnik was more than a scientific achievement. It was a declaration. If the Soviets could launch something into orbit, maybe they could also launch weapons from space. It sparked panic in Washington. The skies, once free and untouched, suddenly felt vulnerable. And so, America responded. In 1958, it created NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, with one mission: catch up. But the Soviets weren't finished. In November 1957, just a month after Sputnik 1, they launched Sputnik 2, this time with a living passenger, Laika, a stray dog from Moscow. The message was clear: the USSR was ahead, and the world was watching. Then, in April 1961, the Soviets shocked the world again. Yuri Gagarin became the first human to travel into space, completing one orbit of Earth and returning safely. Gagarin became a national hero, and the Soviets claimed another victory. It was a turning point for the United States. Later that year, President John F. Kennedy stood before Congress and made a bold promise. America would land a man on the moon before the decade was out. Not because it was easy, he said, but because it was hard, because it was a challenge worth facing. And so, NASA began working on the Mercury and Gemini missions, building the knowledge and experience needed for something far bigger: Project Apollo. While NASA trained astronauts and tested rockets, the Soviets began facing internal struggles, technical issues, leadership conflicts, and hidden failures that the outside world never saw. For a while, they remained silent, while America moved steadily forward. Then, in July 1969, it happened. Apollo 11 lifted off from Kennedy Space Center, carrying Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. 4 days later, the world held its breath as Armstrong descended the ladder of the lunar module and stepped onto the moon. "That's one small step for man," he said, "one giant leap for mankind." With that single step, the space race had its winner. But the story didn't end there. The race to the moon had driven innovation in ways no one could have predicted. Satellites, weather forecasting, global communication, GPS, and the birth of modern computing. It taught humanity that the impossible was possible. That science, when driven by ambition and fueled by competition, could break through the heavens. Though born from rivalry, the space race inspired unity. It gave us a new perspective, not just of space, but of ourselves. From Sputnik's first beep to the footprints on the moon, it was a race that redefined what it meant to reach for the stars.